Hello, my name is Alicia. This is Slasher Chick TV, where we like to talk about growth mindset and negotiation strategies. Mostly so you never have to choose between this or that. You can always say yes to this slash that. And the growth opportunity I had today is I tried to live stream from an event so I could make sure to achieve my goal of 90 consecutive days of live streaming and not miss day 59, and it was a failure on many fronts. For one, the Wi-Fi was not Wi-Fiing, and neither was the cellular service. So it wasn't even like that was gonna work. So, lesson first lesson learned is if I wanted to be able to do that, I needed to have a backup, like backup Wi-Fi. Like my own hotspot or something to that effect. Other lesson learned about what live streaming from a live event is that I'd never been to this event before. So if I had planned on doing something like this, I probably should have made sure I was like set up already and comfortable with attending and set up for success in that way. I was not. The other challenge with live streaming from live events is depending on what's being shared, it might it might present a copyright challenge, which today definitely did anyway. But because the poor Wi-Fi, it most of my stream was black, so that didn't really, it didn't achieve the goal. If anything, I think I'm a little frustrated now. Like, oh, that felt like a waste of time. But there's no such thing as a waste of time. I don't take L's. I learn lessons. That's what we're going with. But one thing I was not going to do was get to where I was last night, which I was just so late and so tired by the time I did finally stream, which was like just before midnight. I think an hour before midnight. But enough time where I could still say I achieved the goal for the day, but not enough time. I didn't give it enough time for it to be quality, and that's personally, like, girl, you're on day 59. I was day 58. You should have figured this out by now. But I'm not going to beat myself up about it. As I keep saying, progress over perfection. And I'm going to not only tell that to other people, but I'm going to take my own advice. So, because tomorrow was day 60, though, I am going to take some time to think about what does the rest of the challenge look like, and plan that out. But for now, I decided to go ahead and have a little chit chat as I drive home from said live event. So I went to the Roots Picnic. It was my first time going. It's a 2-day festival, and I knew it was like thousands of people, but I still did not grasp the magnitude until I actually got there and tried to get in. Now, I made the mistake of buying a regular old general admission ticket, and the general admission entry was like a cattle herd. There was no, I'm sorry, it was worse than a cattle herd because there wasn't even any lines. It was just a mass thing. And because I was like by myself getting in, and there were people around me that are in groups and they're like getting in front of me, but I'm in Philly and I'm 4'11. So, and like I said, I'm by myself walking through this line. I'm not starting no fights with no groups in the Philly line as I'm by myself. That's not smart. Just for any of you tourists that ever plan to come visit Philadelphia for a special event, not smart. I don't, 0 out of 10 recommend, because you just never know. We are the city of sisterly love, brotherly love, and sisterly affection, and we are also the city of FAFO. Yeah, that's how they say it. So, so right now, yeah, I'm on my way back home. I had a really long day. in that I started my morning by volunteering, and then after my service event, I came home. I did get to take like a quick little nap, and then I went out to the festival, and that was just like it wasn't the height of heat for the day because it was like 4 o'clock. Well, it wasn't 4 o'clock when I got there. I think it was like 3:30 when I got there, like four something when I finally got in. But it was hot. Now, the fact that the line was so bad when I got there was also my fault because I got there just before like one of the bigger headliners. Not technically that phrase doesn't work as a headliner if they're not the last person, right? It's like saying you have a penthouse on the 11th floor. I used to live in a building that was like that. It had like 13 floors and it was like penthouse 1, 2, and 3. That's not a penthouse, okay? You can call it like executive level floors or something. I don't know, some fancy name. It's not a penthouse. Penthouse is the top floor, only unit there, and the elevator is the entrance, okay? It's something to that effect. Anyway, we're not talking about definitions. We're talking about what I learned about how to get into the Roots Picnic. And yeah, I made that mistake of going, like, trying to get there before the 4:30 set of artists, which the 4:30 set of artists included like Dream and someone else that's relatively well known. That of course a lot more people are going to be there trying to get in at that time. So that's my own fault and lesson learned for the next time I do it. What All right, sorry, I had a connection issue. I don't know where I left off, but where I was cut off, I think, was about Fantasia's actually tomorrow. And with my lesson learned today, I know not to wait to get there so close to her performance time. But it was a beautiful day in the city today. From a self care Saturday perspective, having time to be of service was a plus. Going to a live show, which is something I love, was even though it was not the most relaxing experience. I was doing something that I like and at least trying a new experience. Oh, and another plus was I saw an old co-worker, turned friend, who recently moved out of the state and is like on the other side of the country now. And so running into her there amongst thousands of people was a real plus. And like to just like hug her and put my arms around her was really nice. So that was, yeah, I felt good about that. It made it worth it. And what else? I just would. I think I also realized that I just am such a homebody at this point, and I really just want to be home. And I don't think that's coming from a place of isolation or anything. It's coming from a place of one. I'm like, oh, I could be home batching content. So there's that. Yeah, Coach Cherry, it was. I mean, the number of times where I was standing in that mass line where you can't hear. Oh, maybe you can hear me now that I fixed the mic because the mic was like, when the internet connection goes out and I am actually just have this on while I'm driving. That's why I don't have the camera on so that I don't have to look at it. It can just be, connected to my car and thus moving forward. Um, but yeah, there were a number of times when I was in that line, I just kept saying to myself, I'm too old for this stuff. Like it was so hot, like sweat was dripping down my back. Now, when I got inside, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this was worth it. But I honestly think that was like a sense of relief from the hazing I had just experienced in the line. So I don't think it was. I mean, it was nice. They had like all these like cool activations and stuff. But even for those like special activations, required that you do the VIP. And I don't know why I didn't think like, girl, general admission. You do not want a general admission experience. I don't know why I didn't think that. Um, but I should have known better. And so that's what that's what I learned. Yeah, I mean, Coach, you know how I'm one of those people that like I also make a lot of my phone calls while I'm in the car, as far as like, when you need to catch up with family or things like that, because when I get home and don't want to talk no more, I don't want to talk no more. But yes, that was what I learned today, was that I have to do VIP. I can't go again without doing that. And and I should know that about myself at this point, that I, like I said, I know I don't want a general admission experience. So why would I just buy a general admission ticket? Because I'm gonna obviously be mad. And that's why I was like, I was so close to just turning around. Like, I'm over it. But the only reason why I still went through was because my friend and sorority sister that was in there, like, I told her, I was gonna say hi before I left. So I had to at least get in there to actually follow through with what I said. And then yeah, I had that moment of relief. I got a $25 drink, which I knew to expect that that's what that would be. But it just, yeah, I am I'm certain to, and here's the thing. I think the first time you go anywhere or do anything, like, the first time you visit a new country or visit an island you've never been to before. All right, I'm going to read the comments now because I'm at a stoplight. um, yeah, that's what I think. So then when you are done peopling, you don't have to people anymore after your ride. Because I think, even trying to live stream is like people, and it does take a lot of energy. It takes even probably more energy than engaging with someone live one on one, because you can see their facial expressions and body language and stuff, right? Whereas on a live stream or a podcast style, you're trying to make it and keep it engaging without really being able to see the people that are consuming it. So that, I think, takes a lot more energy and effort. But my favorite act today was, okay, so when I did finally get in there, because the one I was going for to try to be there by a certain time was Red Band and Method Man. And so when I did finally get in there and I got in the line for the bar, I was like singing all along to the songs and stuff, like really having a great time. And I was like, oh, they jamming. And it wasn't until like the third song that I realized, Alicia, this is them live. Like, duh. And I was like, oh yeah. So I at least got to hear them, but because I didn't get the VIP ticket, I was also so far from the stage that I can't see nothing anyway. So also a lesson learned. But really, yeah, the headline for tonight is Jill Scott. So I couldn't. Yeah, I was done, so I couldn't stay until 9:15 when Jill Scott comes on. Um, Yeah, I think so. I think if, kind of how you've packaged your podcast, of Real Talk with Sherry, with Coach Sherry, and that gives you a lot of room to just weave in a lot of your other content. Yeah, I couldn't hang Coach Sherry. I could not. But that's also because if you missed the beginning of the stream, I've been up and out since 8 o'clock this morning. I had a service event this morning, and so I did first the senior fair. And after the senior fair, and I was there for at least 4 hours that I was working there. And then after that, I came home and then went to this event, and that is a lot of social activity for me. Um, so I am pooped, okay, pooped, and I really just, and okay. so what I was saying though, what I really wanted to be doing is just be home making content, is because I want to go ahead and start this series. Because as I continue, and complete this challenge, I still want to have a practice of uploading, videos that are around the content that I want to talk about. And I had come across a couple of people, not even a couple, it's even more now, people doing this like, can I monetize my small YouTube series in X amount of time? And here's the thing, I don't necessarily need to ever get my YouTube channel to beyond um, 10,000 subscribers. Under 10,000 subscribers is still considered a quote unquote nano influencer. It's still a great mechanism for marketing anything that's your own product or service, and or some of the other just things that you could utilize YouTube for. So I don't need to be a million subscriber channel. I actually don't think I would ever want to be in a million subscriber channel. I don't know, because like more subscribers, more trolls. That's definitely true. But at any rate, I had ran across this channel. It was called Silver and Solo, and it is an older, and by older, I think she's, oh, I forgot. I don't know how old she is. She calls herself older, so that's why I feel reasonable saying this, but the name of her channel is Silver and Solo. She talks about solo travel, but she also did a series on, can I monetize this my small YouTube channel in 10 weeks? And in the series, she basically just like each week outlined, hey, this is my strategy, this is the videos I'm uploading, this is what happened, or something to that effect. And I got sucked into that series, and she did get monetized in 10 weeks, which I think is surprising, because that is like, I think, unheard of. But I think she really kind of honed in on a niche with her solo travel as a single person. I think over 60. I think that's what she said, single over 60, because I feel like there was a lot of alliteration that was involved in the Silver Solo single 60. So I think I'm right about that. But at any rate, then there are others who have really kind of started doing the same kind of series. And so even if all I do is continue to do my live streams, I can do that series of, can I monetize in X amount of time as a series. Now, I want to do my, can I monetize in 12 weeks, because then it will follow my 12-week year that I'm working on. So I'm trying to, figure out how I just make content around things I was going to be doing anyway, and leverage that. So yeah, I think one thing I have recognized, and it seems to be true, Coach Terry, is doing a series is helpful for the monetization if that's one of your goals, because it gives people something specific to come back to, right? They know what's if I come back next week or whatever, Coach Sherry's going to tell me about uh, letter D in the A to Z of development. So yeah, like if you wanted to do that series, right? Even if you did just small bites to do the 26 videos. Isn't that right? 26 videos? It didn't even have to be or actually you could probably take the ones that you've done already and just repurpose them. Because didn't you, I mean, I know you already went through A through Z and then did separate videos for some of them, but not, necessarily all of them. But even repurposing your first stream that covered A through Z might be a series that you could do relatively quickly by just adding on to like these few letters together. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there could be an LMNOP episode. See, I like that. But that's, again, I'm one viewer, but I love thinking about these things and brainstorming. Or yeah, exactly. Oh, repurposing it into a short. Good point. So yeah, that should give you 26 shorts if you did every single letter, and that's like a short series that someone could watch. But yeah, I haven't been able to keep up with my series that I have in my head because I haven't written them down, which is one of the things I have to do as a part of my 12-week year. But I made today, June 1st, my start day because I like the I don't know. I'm one of those people. I have some weird quirks in that way of like, if we're gonna start a meeting, I needed to start at like the 0 or a 5 or a 0, a 15, or a 30. Like, otherwise it's gonna bother me. Oh, my one of my other weird quirks is if I'm eating takeout, I don't want to use real utensils. It just doesn't feel right. Like, I give me plastic because it wasn't made at home. Why am I using home utensils? I don't. And I know it's a strange quirk, just like the fact that I like guacamole, but I don't like avocados sliced. But we've all got our things, and I am learning to just embrace my differences rather than try to justify them or uh, get other people to be comfortable with them. And so that's one of the things I realized is the difference today was like, oh, I'd just rather be home making content than out socializing right now. Oh darn it! This parking space is not good enough. And so it made me realize that too. If I'm gonna really be serious about YouTube and go hard on this, some things are going to have to change. And that there are some things that I currently say yes to. Ma'am? Are you really gonna pull behind me when you can see I'm trying to move? Some things that I currently say yes to that I'm no longer going to be able to say yes to. Not and still have the time for all the things that I want to do. And I think that's one of the things that really holds people back from change a lot, right? Because it feels like a loss in ways, and that you have to let some things go. Um, but if it's in pursuit of something that you anticipate will be even better than what you have now, or better for you, or more joyful, or why wouldn't you want to? Don't you deserve that? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Oh, see, yeah, they're okay. I definitely agree. They're probably not as strong as they used to be, Coach Jerry, about the plastics. But I couldn't imagine ordering soul food from a takeout that I didn't make myself and eating it with regular utensils. It just don't feel right. Even when that's one of the things I love about my workplace is that if we have days where people are in the office, we try to, serve you food. So we often have catered lunches, and we have a kitchen area and stuff in our office where we have real utensils, but I can't use the real utensils when we do a catered lunch. I can now, if I brought lunch to the office, then I will use the office utensils. But if it was catered, no, give me plastic. So that's one of my quirks. If ever I have what it's a game show thing I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of it now. Thank you, Coach Sherry. I really appreciate that. I feel the same way about yours. I think you really identify a format that works best for you and your lifestyle, and that makes it a sustainable opportunity for you. And wait, isn't today the day? Is today Sweet 16? I think it, or yeah, it wasn't yesterday. I think it's actually today. I will wait for the 30 to 45-second delay in the chat for you to let me know. I'm gonna have to wait for these pedestrians to cross the street anyway. I promise I'm being safe though. I'm one of my biggest fears is hitting a pedestrian, so I can actually assure you I am most definitely being safe. Like, I have a big fear of like a person walking out from between cars or something, and I just don't see them in time, and that's what I probably should stop speaking the fear. But you know what? But I know I'm protected, and so all of those who are in my in my orbit when I'm driving are also protected from said types of accidents. Thank you, Lord. Now, the one thing about city living is parking. I mean, I guess I could pay for parking. And if I'm going to an event, I might pay for parking for the convenience of it all. But paying the equivalent of a rent for a parking space when I can get a permit from the city and pay $35 for the year, but yes, maybe I have to drive around a few more times than normal. I'm willing to do. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, Coach Sherry. So yeah, that's why it's what I'm, especially in like the city. But I hope she was okay and it wasn't, a really really bad accident when she did unfortunately get hit. I think it's bad. I think it's also bad customer service when they don't automatically um, submit it. However, I guess I'm also getting though so many things have changed in that people, all kinds of businesses are trying to save money, so maybe that's why they don't do it anymore. I know one thing I was so surprised by was when I went to the office the other day, we ordered Chinese food for our catered lunch, and they did not send any soy sauce. And I'm like, and my office manager was like, "Oh, Alicia, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Don't be sorry. You didn't do anything. Who sends delivered Chinese food without soy sauce? Like, no one expected that at all." Oh, good. I'm glad your aunt lived. But oh man, that's a shame that it left her with a limp. But at least she was, alive. So that's the main thing. But it's so scary to me. I know someone that happened to, that they had someone jut out at an intersection and they unfortunately ended up hitting a pedestrian. And I think there are some ways in which, it can happen that it's just unavoidable. Um, no, you know what? I didn't even realize that. They didn't even have any fortune cookies. And I don't, well, and because I showed her, I'm like, oh, this, because the shrimp fried rice they gave me was so pale. And now, look, I love, because I lived in Chinatown in Philadelphia for six, 6 or 7 years. Um, so I feel, I'm like a bit of a connoisseur. And of not even just Americanized Chinese food, but actually authentic different types of Asian cuisine because of my location. And okay, that's what you're doing, man. Thanks. And any recipe you can possibly find about how to make fried rice includes soy sauce. Like that, there's actually soy sauce in the rice. This rice looked like white rice, and they just threw some vegetables and shrimp in it. So there's no way. Yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, that I know. Well, I do know the singer Brandy hit someone. Now, what were the circumstances? I do not know because, oh, you know what? They might have jumped out, but I do know one of the circumstances was that she kept going. I don't think she stayed on the scene, and that was one of the things that she had gotten. You know, oddly enough, there's quite a few celebrities that have done that, have hit someone and left the scene. I don't know if that's ever going to be useful information for anyone on like a trivia show. And I can't remember the names of the other ones that have done it, but there's at least five. Oh, Caitlyn Jenner, that's another one. All right, maybe five's a lot. Okay, no, I'm gonna say I feel like Anne Heche counts because she drove into someone's house. I mean, isn't that like the equivalent of hitting a pedestrian? Um, And most definitely, if you order fried fish or fried shrimp, tartar sauce is automatic. I shouldn't have to ask for that. So that's, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. in current day. Um, I don't know if it's just, yeah, the economy, the bad economy, or establishments are truly just getting cheap. I mean, it is. There's something. There's definitely a shift. I don't know if you're aware that Red Lobster closed a lot of restaurants. I want to say it was at least 150, but it might have been a multiple of that. So it might be up to. But let's just say it was definitely at least 150, and they just had to cite that they just did not have the same kind of sales that they had before, and I would think that that's just definitely an indicator that people are them as an establishment and as a chain have had a continuous decline over time. Um, and because I think that the particular product that they choose to focus on, it's just either going to be expensive or poor quality, and it's just not a sustainable business because of the just fluctuation of food costs. So I would not be surprised if literally Red Lobster becomes like the Blockbuster of restaurants. um and you know what, that yeah, the comparison to places like Joe's Crab Shack and other boils that have like managed that fast casual in a way that's way more modern, or that just consumers like more than Red Lobster. I know my little cousins, like, every celebration, Joe's Crab Shack is where they wanted to go. And I don't, if the kids ask for it, everybody's going. Now, how they managed to do that as a capturing a market, I don't know. But I feel like Joe's Crab Shack has done it. They got the kids. But see, Sherry, as I drive around, this reminds me of why I want to own a parking lot. Parking lots and laundromats, man. I'm telling you, they definitely seem like where it's at. And parking lots and laundromats will not ever be fully replaced by AI. You can use AI maybe, or technology to service them, but you're still going to need the space. And there's still going to be people who don't have space and or can't afford washers and dryers in their homes, or don't want to put their big bulky items in their home things if they live in smaller spaces. So I just feel like, yeah, you can't go wrong with parking lots and laundromats. And I gotta get me one, or two, or three, or four. I would think they are, and well, I guess it depends on the laundromat. Because I was gonna say, in laundromats that were a cash business, they seem awesome. But I guess now a lot more laundromats are using those, like, I don't know what you call them, but those, like, they have those systems where you like get a laundromat card for that mat, and then you like have to use that card and reload it with points or money just for that laundromat. So maybe it's not as like, oh, okay, you use the card system. Yeah, maybe it's not as maybe they're not currently as cash heavy, but the fact that they used to could be even alone makes it. And I would think also, I don't know where like your kind of laundromats are, where your laundromats are, but I would think owning a laundromat in a college town, because that's where I really want my parking lots and laundromats, in college towns. Um, but I definitely want a parking lot in a college town, a state college, Pennsylvania, any of the like small towns that have small towns with big football. That would be, oh, that would make sense now that they are still, pretty dollar heavy. Because, oh, even in those machines, you can use cash. I forgot about that. Totally forgot about that. Oh, yeah, see, that just sounds like such an awesome business. And one that you don't have to, like, you don't have to actively be there and stuff, right? Like, you're not managing the laundromat as the, or laundromat attendant, but it also creates a job for someone because you need someone to be there, but not you. So, yeah. And now the other thing that I think that are like that, uh, that may be less up your alley, are tattoo parlors, and that's also on my list. What are y'all doing? And because they also can be heavy cash, but a huge reason for that too is I would want to, you know, I would want to be. I just want free tattoos. That's really that's that's my main reason to own a tattoo parlor. Is that way when I come in, I get tatted for free. Now, I would be curious. Okay, is there any kind of business, Go Cherry, that has incredibly low margins, but you would like to do it because you think it would be fun or it's like a passion project kind of thing? That's interesting. I coach someone who wants to own an arcade. We mapped out a gaming center instead. Yeah, because I would think maybe the arcade is a little too narrow at this point, to get enough customers. Is that kind of how y'all move to a gaming center? But then what kind of other games do you add? Like, oh, do you even add? Because surprisingly, I was surprised that a couple of things that have opened around here lately in Philadelphia, which are like board game cafes. And it's really just like a cafe, but then they have all these other board games there, and people come and do like those, what do they call those games? Like Dungeons and Dragons type games where they're long games where they role play and stuff like that. So the games take hours to complete. But these little, like, yeah, board game cafes that have popped up are also like, oh, you meet up with your friends for coffee and then y'all play board games. And I don't even know how this business model works because I guess you eat enough, in the food and drink because you don't have to like reserve a table. You don't have to pay for the games. But I haven't been to one yet. When my company did different team offsites, this is what one of the things the engineers did, because a lot of our engineering team likes to play those kinds of Dungeons and Dragons. They love this one game called Cat Catalan or Catsazan. I am messing the name of this game up, but like almost like everybody on the team plays that. So really, and so do they pay like an entrance fee? This is so wild to me. This is young people are so interesting. Because here's the thing: there's also, as they say, nothing new under the sun. Like that seems like something to me that would seem so old school to people, but it is now having its own, resurgence, which is it's nice to see because then at least they're doing something that uses their brain and that's safe and fun and like how could you it's lovely. It's lovely. But I didn't know that that's what the young people were getting together to do. Now that's one of the things I've been thinking about for an idea on my channel. I wanted to do this video about just different ways to do a girls' night in that are not your typical girls' night in. So there's this other thing I've seen a lot of people having these like PowerPoint nights with their friends. Oops, sorry. PowerPoint nights with their friends to explain their job and what they actually do. Um, wow. So he just brings the game. Oh, and okay, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, and so it really just benefits the company, the venue, because he helps bring the crowd. So, and and there's very low overhead for him. OMG, that is the coolest. That is so awesome. Okay, now that is, I'm very curious as to, yeah, how he came up with that idea, or kind of knew it would work. Was it something he just like, oh, I'll just try it out and see if it would work, or was it something he started with like his friends and stuff and maybe college, and then he's like, oh, I can make this into a thing and a business. I don't know when this building got erected, but it also seems like construction goes up so much faster than it used to. Um, Oh, Coach Sherry, so do I. I will. So here's the thing you might want to look into for a shared workspace. That is, if you've ever considered, instead of, and when I said so do I, it's about the tiny home community. Because South Carolina has lots of land that would be great for tiny homes. And I think having little tiny home communities are great for like corporate retreats. And one of my cousins is a contractor. And so he really wants us to, as like a family, get us a tiny home community. And he's like, I'll do all the contracting work. Like everybody gets a job. And I'm trying to get everyone on board. We'll see what happens within the next year. But as far as the shared workspace, um, there is a company called Hera Hub. Okay, let me see if I can. I can't type it. Oh, here we go. I am at a light again. I promise. I'm being safe. Up, but the light's green, so now I can't type it. I'll type it in a minute. But Hera Hub, like, I think Hera's a goddess. Anyway, it is a co-working space that specifically focuses on women entrepreneurs, and or solopreneurs, or just women who need a co-working space. Although it's obviously open to everyone, that's just their focus. And they also have more of a like spa like type theme of, they do focus on wellness and just the holistic aspect of, I'd say, the entrepreneur. And they have a franchise model. And so if you want to open, for those who want to open a hair hub, well, it's not a franchise model. They have a licensing model. So you get to license a lot of the hair hub, back office and services, and, marketing. And they have quite a few locations right now. They started in Cali, so there's more locations in Cali, but I've used the Hera Hub that is in DC for events when I was working, for the crew and launching uh, those different crews there. And so we would have some of our networking events there, as well as some like networking events with the businesses that were there. And um, one of the things I was really impressed by Hera Hub specifically was that they survived the pandemic. Because I, kept up with all the different locations that I was aware of, because I would always go back to their, corporate parent site. And so right before the pandemic, there was a location that had just launched in Temecula. And if I, and I remember, if that's the one I recall, I remember it was also owned by a black woman. And I remember feeling like, oh man, I really want, I don't want her to, like, oh, that stinks, like she's going to have to deal with this right now. And to see her location continue to thrive was like, oh, okay. And if nothing else, it definitely gave me the indication that there was some support amongst the community of other licensees as well, So, um, oh, that makes so much sense, Coach Shay. I didn't even think about that. See, this is why you're so good at what you do. And so, so basically, your son's not new to this. He was true to this as far as his gaming night. That's so cool. Um, But yeah, see, that's another idea for you, Coach Sherry. You could have a live stream channel where people come to you and say, "Hey, these are my like strengths and skills, blah blah blah. I want to start a business. I don't need it to be, uh, I'm not trying to go public. I'm just trying to create a lifestyle for me and my family. What could I do with that? Or I have this idea and I haven't thought about it, and that." And you could just like live coach them if you want. I mean, obviously within a container of where you're giving away enough free value that it makes people come to you for actual coaching, but doesn't take a lot of effort on your part, because you obviously can do this stuff like breathing, you know what I mean? It's really um that is so cute. I love it. It's really easy for you. And you talked about this, about the things that uh that's basically what people get paid for, is the things that are easy to them but hard for others. But I think that could be great content that still is. Oh yeah, that's a great thing to make a membership option. One of the perks of membership and why you should sign up for it. Because if people are quote unquote in the coaching hot seat for that week, but or not, but you're a member, like people still learn from other people being in that hot seat. So, oh, I love that idea. So, all right, then with if your goal is like you have some uh ideas of how you'll structure your membership, and membership is definitely still monetization, and membership has way more um earning potential than AdSense monetization. So, are you really only trying to get to the 3,000 watch hours then? And if so, like, how far are you from that right now? Because I feel like you got to be pretty close, right? Yeah, that's so awesome. And then that way you'd be able to do a pitch for those one-to-one services at the end of every stream. Oh, I love this. I can't wait for this for you. So yeah, how much more to get you to the 3,000 so that you can eventually launch your memberships when you feel it's the right time. Because yeah, I gotta figure it can't be that much more, sir. If that's really where you want to park your Aston Martin, then you do that, but I do not recommend it. Yeah, across the street. Listen, here's the other thing that helps about being on live when I'm driving. It has helped quelch my road rage, because I definitely have really bad road rage. I've had to remind myself multiple times when I am driving, uh, that I am in Philadelphia, and you can't just have road rage. You just can't, because that could escalate. I love my city, but I also know my city. So, but being on live, right? Because I'm on a live stream, I'm not gonna just start cussing out the person in front of me. Now, if no one was quote unquote watching, I might. I, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I am a work in progress. That's why I talk about progress over perfection. But because I know someone's quote unquote watching, it's either be in a live stream or have my little sister in the car. If I want to quote. Yeah, exactly. And it would be evident. So, you got to keep it together. Because the guy I was talking about in the live stream yesterday, Nick Ricada, his live streams have been used in evidence, like, in that case against him, as it relates to the neglect. Like, his live stream is the reason that they finally came and raided him, because the children had told someone at the church that they weren't being fed, and that they weren't being no one was supporting their hygiene, and they'd be enclosed for multiple days at a time. And so, as a part of the investigation, then the alphabet people, whichever ones were involved, started watching his live streams and saw that he would get visibly intoxicated uh, frequently on the live streams. And there was just enough, I guess, concern I want to say probable evidence, but I don't probable cause, but I don't think those are the right words. But at any rate, the bottom line is the live streams were evidence, okay? And were and are and will be. And one thing though I have always thought about the internet from the moment that I got on the internet was don't put anything on it that you don't want your grandma to see. And so I mean, my grandma know I got road rage too. But I can't have road rage in the car with my grandma. Besides the fact that she's my grandma, like I might yell, but I definitely ain't gonna cuss. But she won't let you, okay? Because she is the worst person to be in the car with. Because she has passenger anxiety, okay? And every little thing that happens, she's like, ooh, ah, yee, oh. And I'm always like, Grandma, if I'm about, if I wasn't about to freak out, when you go, I'm about to freak out. Like, can you calm down in the passenger seat? So it's horrible. But, um, yes, you can, you can wait it out, Coach Sherry. One thing I am for certain of is that you are strategic and that you gonna make it do what it do. So if but okay, when you have this passenger anxiety, and let's say your children are driving, are you over there making all these noises and screaming and telling them what to do, making them more anxious than you? I hope not, because that is hard. It makes it hard to drive. Wait, okay, so Coach Sherry, I don't think I saw your live yet today. What time are you going live? I want to make sure, because now I have finally found not only a safe but free parking space so I can stay here until tomorrow when I go back for day 2 of this Roots picnic now that I know how to go. Oh no, Coach Sherry, I can't believe that. I can't believe you over there making noise in the passenger seat. Okay, but yeah, I will, now that I'm safely here and parked, I'm gonna get out of this car. I'm gonna I'm gonna cook me a dinner, and then I'm going to eat my dinner while I watch Coach Cherry's live stream whenever that's gonna be. Maybe I might have eaten it before, but I will be there. Hey, Big Boy Snacks, Johnny TV. Um, I said this to you in the chat before. When you say, "Can I ask you a question?" You technically already asked me a question by asking, "Can I ask you a question?" But I am actually about to get off this live stream right now. Thank you for stopping by for day 59 of 90 consecutive days of live stream. I am so grateful to have made it there because tomorrow marks the for third stage of this challenge, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for this last sprint. So here we go. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night.